get started then. That's okay with everybody. All right, so
Yes.
I'll call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock.
Mhm.
If we could please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. All right, thank you. If we could take this moment and give a moment of silence for Mr. Gabriel Crothers, if that's okay with you, Dr. Lucas and staff.
Yes, that's fine. That's perfect.
Thank you, guys. All right. Moving forward, can we get an approval of the agenda? Or first, is there any changes? Lucas?
No,
Okay. May I get a motion to approve the
I'll make a
agenda for
motion to
tonight?
approve the agenda is written. Morelos.
May I get a
I'll
second?
second it.
All right, roll call. Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Mr. Morelos?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez? He's not in yet, right?
not yet.
Okay,
He just,
well, myself, I.
okay.
All right, moving on. Approval of the minutes, regular meeting of July 19, 2021. If I could have a motion to approve the minutes.
So move, Madam Chair. This is Morelos.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second it, Alyssa.
Thank you, Jonah. All right, can I have roll call? Mr. Morelos?
Aye.
Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez? Aye. Myself, aye.
And Edgar is here now.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving down to action items. Action item A, consideration of approval of resolution authorizing and approving submissions of completing application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority. Is that a guest speaker?
Yes, we have Gina from RBC Capital Markets, and she'll go over, will visit with us a little bit about it.
Members of the board, superintendent, good evening, everyone. Also with me is Kaylee Weimerskirch with our office as well. And I will be sharing my screen to go over the district's plan of finance before you consider approval of the resolution and the delegation of authority resolution for New Mexico Finance Authority application. And would you be able to make me a co-host or to allow me to share the screen, because it's currently telling me that I wouldn't be able to share the screen.
You hear that, Ryan? He said you should be able to go.
Okay, looks like I am good to go right now. So here you can see is the history of the district's assessed valuation. We have received preliminary numbers from the county assessor, and the district has once again seen a very stable and healthy growth going into tax year 2021. with both your 5-year average and 10-year average growth rates being very consistent. As always, we are using a more conservative number for planning purposes to make sure that in the event we do see a decline or a reduction in the collections, the district still collects enough in its debt service fund to pay the debt service on its existing bonds. And over the last week, we have been working with both PD and DFA on setting the tax rate for tax year 2021 for the district. As you can see here, historically, the district has maintained the debt service tax rate at about $6.70. And going into tax year 2021, the district will maintain the tax rate stable at $6.72. And as we continue issuing your 2021 authorization, the goal will be to continue with that tax rate being stable. So as I mentioned, the district had a GO election in February of 2021 for $2 million. We will be issuing the first installment of about $1.5 million here through New Mexico Finance Authority, and the remaining authorization will be issued in 2022 or 2023 as directed by the district. Your last $2 million levy election was in 2019. And due to the changes in the election law, the recommendation would be for the district to go back out to voters in November of 2023 to make sure that you get on those November cycles in the future. And on the bottom of the page here, you see the analysis of your capacity. As you're aware, the district can have up to 6% of principal amount outstanding of its assessed valuation. So with your assessed valuation being $152 million, the constitutional debt limitation is $9.1 million. After the issuance of 2021 bonds, the district will have $7.7 million in GO bonds outstanding, with your capacity being left at about 16%. So even after we do issue this debt, you will still have remaining capacity. And as always, as you move forward, you will be paying off more debt, thus freeing up additional capacity into the future. And here is just the outline of all of your outstanding debt. So all of your debt that you currently have is outstanding through New Mexico Finance Authority, so it's all privately placed. You have $6.2 million, and your debt is structured to decline over time, as you can see here, and that's what allows us to continue going out for elections every 4 years and issue bonds without an increase in the tax rate. And as we're moving forward with the sale of the Series 2021 bonds, after the district approves tonight the resolutions and the applications for financing with New Mexico Finance Authority, we will be presenting the loan to NMFA board at their August 26th meeting, with the interest rates on the loan being set on August 30th and the authorized officer signing the pricing certificate on around September 1st. With that, we'll proceed into the closing, and the funds will be available to the district on a requisition basis starting on October 8th, as you have been doing historically through NMFA. And in the back of the presentation that's in your packets, there's some information on the markets. But with that, I wanted to pause and see if you have any questions on the upcoming finances, plan of finance, or the financing itself.
No, ma'am, it doesn't look like it.
I'll jump in with one, Dr. Lucas.
Okay.
And it might be for you more. It's the way the bonds rolling out. Does that mean the central project will likely be in phases?
Well, we got enough, and it's possible, but I think we have enough to, because the first order of business will be the security vestibule and stuff at the high school.
Right.
And then after that, it may have to come in phases, yes.
Because I saw it was it allocated for 1.3 million right now?
I think 1.5.
But the first phase, correct?
Oh, yeah. Well, the total was about 1.3. So depending upon what the security vestibule costs will depend.
And we haven't got any quotes underneath 1.3. Is that right on that?
Not yet, but we're, like I said, we're still waiting on a couple of quotes to come in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for myself or Regina? Okay. Back to you, Regina.
Thank you, and we'll be back, at your September board meeting to update you on the results of the pricing with New Mexico Finance Authority and the final interest rates as we finalize the terms.
Okay. And do you have anything else for us or just?
Nothing else on our end.
Okay. Okay, so Alyssa, if you want to do the.
Yeah, do we need to make do we go ahead and make a motion on this action?
Yes, unless you have other questions or any other.
Is there any other questions, board members? Okay, if there's not, may I get an approval to approve the resolution authority and approving submission and complete application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority?
I'll make the motion, Alyssa.
Okay, thank you, Edgar. Made second.
I'll second it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Morelos. Roll call, Mr. Morelos,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Okay. Action items B, consideration of approval of the resolution authorizing sales of school bonds, establish procedures for the sale and delivery of the bonds, authorizing and approving submission of a complete application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority, and authorizing other matters relating to the, sorry, insert of the bonds. It's a long item.
Yes, it is.
Regina, is this you, Regina?
No, so we just needed it approved. That's all part of the same.
Okay. Oh, okay. So may I get an approval for action item B?
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Morelos. May I get a second?
I'll second, Alyssa.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Roll call. Mr. Morelos,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
and myself, aye. All right, moving on to reports, administration reports. Number one.
Mrs. Esquivel,
Yes, sorry. Go ahead, Edgar.
signing in. I wanted to ask the board if you guys would consider doing a moment of silence for the passing of one of our teachers, Gabriel Crothers.
We did that. We did that in the beginning after the pledge, Edgar. Is that?
Oh,
okay
you did? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So moving on, if there's any other discussions, number one, the preliminary student counts, Dr. Lucas.
Yes, as of today, we have 402 enrolled, and the pre-enrolled, we had 415. So we have basically 13 no-shows. And as I said, each day they get a little more. So hopefully by Labor Day, we'll be up to where we should be. We have 29 students on the online version. 9 of those are at elementary, and then 20 of those are at secondary. So a total of 402 today.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas. Is there any questions for Dr. Lucas? Okay, if no questions, moving on to operation reports. Dr. Lucas?
Yes, does anybody have any questions on Ryan's operations report?
I saw something about in the security vestibule area about it possibly being an auditorium too. Are we thinking about doing 2 vestibules or?
Well, just, I mean, because kind of the same issues there. I don't know about a vestibule, but maybe barriers or something in front of the glass doors.
Okay, that's what you were emailing us about. Okay, I read
Yeah.
that email. All right, thank you, sir.
Sir, I don't have any questions for Ryan's report. I just had some additional questions.
Okay.
First, the crossing, Alyssa, I'm not sure if you already talked about this, but the crossing lights
No.
over on Omby Street. Were you able to get an
Yeah, I
update
was-
as to? Go ahead, Alyssa. They could probably hear you better.
Yeah, Dr. Lucas, I was gonna ask if we could get some additional crossing lights there at RBT. The traffic seems a little too heavy around there earlier in the mornings. I know it's early, you know, the rush is early.
Yes, ma'am.
But we do have little ones that do walk, parents that do walk their students to school.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, is it something with us or is it something that the
Well,
city?
I'll check with the city. It could be either one of us, I guess. I'll check with the city and see if there are any regulations that we need to follow because the streets are theirs.
Mhm.
And Edgar had mentioned that, and I haven't had a chance to get on it yet, but I will.
Yeah, if you can check on that, sir, I will truly appreciate that.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
it's just the safety of our
Yes, ma'am.
little ones because they're so tiny and I don't
Yes,
want them
they
to get
are.
knocked over.
Yes.
And how are we doing with the painting at the schools? Is that like almost done or halfway done or?
Well, the exterior still needs to be painted, but the interiors are pretty much done unless there were some teachers that chose not to have, I think, like a accent wall painted. And I think some of them, after they've seen the effects, are wanting that done. I don't think we've got those redone for those that are wanting it. That didn't take the initial painting that we did.
Sir, I have another question. I think at one point we had discussed in our administrative report adding the cafeteria. I think that a lot of students are losing a lot of interest in the items that the cafeteria is currently providing. It's really not what it is when they first started with options.
Right.
And I just wanted to see if there's anything that we could do to try to continue those kids engaged in our lunch and breakfast.
Yes, sir. Well, and we'll start having him at the board meetings as well. And when I've spoken to him, he's assured me they're just trying to get everything worked out and getting numbers and counts. You know, because schools just started back up and they've gone from bag lunches. Everybody wanted bag lunches at their campuses where the kids could just come in and take them and go. And so they're having to kind of get rid of that food and start with new counts to start seeing. But he assured me that soon they will be back to choices and be back to the way they were. And I will start having him at each board meeting. If you would like, or every other, I mean, just however y'all want to do it, but I can have him at each board meeting if you'd like.
I'm not sure if it's necessary for him to be at the board meetings, but definitely have some type of communication as for our agreement with them and what they're providing, what service they're providing.
So I can have him do a cafeteria report just like the principals do a building report.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I do have another question.
Sure.
Are we going to be able to get a link on our school website as for the toolkit that we were provided by PED for parents to be able to log in and be able to browse through it if they have any questions?
Yes, we'll get that toolkit up on the website, although it's fixing to change. That's what we were
Yeah, no, I'm sure it'll change. I just think, for transparency and just quickness for parents to be
Right.
able to, look into it. And almost everybody has, some type of smartphone. And I think
Yes.
it would be very convenient for parents to get those answers and see what the state is saying and why
Okay.
we're doing what we do.
Okay.
And with that being said, does the district have somebody specific as to if a parent wanted to call and get some answers regarding COVID, or is there like a designated person? Do they contact you? Is it the nurse?
They can contact me. Normally the nurse is our spokesperson. She is the one that stays up on everything.
Okay, and that's what I was looking for. I just think one person giving the same answer all the time and being educated on what's going on,
Right.
that would be great.
Yes. And we can put that on the website as well.
Okay, thank you. I don't have nothing more for operations.
Okay.
If there's not any questions or concerns, can we move on, or is it with operation reports? I mean, with
The building reports.
building reports, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
So we'll start off with RVT, Dr. Amador.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lucas, fellow colleagues, thank you. I have a short report. School started off chaotic and we have a lot of things going on, but just to let you know, the painting looks amazing. The school looks amazing, actually. It's beautiful. Staff and students and they were just excited to come back. But our safety and security, we're not allowing outside food on campus. We're just kind of following the same things that we've been doing from last year, just to maintain the fidelity with what we're doing. That way we're not switching over all the time. So obviously we're not allowing visitors. And if parents need anything, they're going to need to, they call the front office, and we're trying to stick with that so we can just have a lot of safety and security and just keep in mind that we're still in a pandemic. We have a website now for RVT. Miss Mesa did an amazing job putting a website together. So you guys are more than welcome to navigate that. You can find it off the district website under RVT. Our teacher leadership worked this summer to put a lot of stuff together and strategically align teaching and learning for students and what student outcomes should look like. What it revealed is that a lot of our kids are right at the line of proficiency. And so that's that's very good for baseline data for us. So we have nothing to do but go over that and up. So we're very excited to see what this year brings with that. And that teacher leadership is working on several different things that we have to, have answered for the state. And it's an amazing deal, but it's been an awesome experience so far. We have Paxis. We're bringing in the Paxis behavior. We had training this weekend, and the Paxis provided our staff a stipend of $200 each to go over the training. And it's really about, self-monitoring. And we really want to focus on instruction and cut down on sending kids to the office for things they don't need to be out of the office for, right? And so we're just looking to really sharpen up our skills and make it a welcoming environment for parents and students in the community. So that's our goal this year. And obviously we have a lot of work to do. But that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Dr. Amador, this is Edgar. I did have a couple of questions for you. I know I touched base with Dr. Lucas on this, and I know because of the rain, it's very difficult, but has there been any progress on the weeds over at the playground at your school?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. They cut them last week on Thursday, and they're already a foot long today, right? So they had them ready to go for our jump in too. The playground looked amazing, and it's pouring, and but they're trying to keep up with it as best they can. And unless we don't want them using chemicals, but if you want some results, that's what they're going to have to do.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking just for the safety of the students, it's a lot of desert out there, and I know it's very difficult, but if we could just keep up with it the best we can, I would appreciate it.
Not a problem.
And also my second question is, I know drop off is really not an issue, but is there anything that we might be able to do as far as pickup goes after school for the students? It just seems to be a cluster out there, and there's been a lot of concerns of parents just getting off, just huddling and.
Well, this is the thing. I can have the officer out there, and the parents are still going to do what the parents do. And so I have to ask you then, what fight is it worth? Is it worth having it out with a parent and telling them to go back to their car? Because we're still doing the same things we were doing last year. Parents are eager to get their kids. I'm not going to turn any parents away. When we've had the officers there or officers, they still bypass them. And so we have to ask ourselves, and the community has to look at itself and say, what are we going to do about this, right? And so, I've requested officers. Dr. Lucas has had me officers out there, and they bypass them as well. And so, I have to ask you guys, what hill is that? A hill we want to die on, right?
I completely understand. And
my focus isn't, this is the first I've heard of the drop off being chaotic. Last year when we came back, it was fine. No one had any problems. The way we were releasing kids was fine. Parents are going in waves to get their kids. Kids are leaving. So this is the first I've heard about it. But really, the community has to ask itself what it wants out of this. Are they going to stay in their cars? Because we're asking no food, and they're still bringing their kids food. We're asking not to come in the building, and they're still trying to get in the building. So, think about the position it puts my teachers and myself in. Do we really want to get into it with a parent? Or are you going to, would you want to be out there getting it into a parent, telling them to stay in their car? So those are just things to think about, because we're very aware of it. But at the end of the day, it's 4:00. Do we really want to get into it with a parent, or what's the best plan? They have to wait not in the parking lot or outside. And so we've examined all that, but the safest thing to do is exactly how we're letting them in and out.
Okay, no, and I completely understand. I know there's really no right or wrong answer at this time. It's just it seems to be a cluster, and I don't know what the right answer is. So maybe something that we could look into, but I just wanted to bring awareness to it.
Yeah, and really, Mr. Gomez, it would take redoing the whole parking lot to have it where it can facilitate the amount of traffic that it gets. That's what it takes. Outside of that, we
totally agree. I think you have the largest school and the smallest parking lot.
Right.
I definitely see that.
And so what I want to investigate is having maybe dads as crosswalk guards, grandpas come and volunteer. That's always another avenue and option. And I think there's enough people in the community that would love to do that. But just with where we're at with COVID and things like that, I'm very skeptical to ask anybody to come and help or put them in a position to compromise their health.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And if there's anything, for the parents listening, I hope you guys understand the challenges our staff faces, and just let's do the best we can to keep the kids safe, because just like Alyssa was mentioning with the crosswalk signs out there, our interest is always making sure that our students are safe, and I just would hate for something bad to happen out there in that tiny parking lot.
Right. And if you've noticed, I'm even parking my car with my hazards on like a little bit out into the road right in front of the school, so they slow down, because some of them are still cutting about 35 miles an hour through there. And I was walking the Arteaga boys and a couple of other students across the street because no one's obeying the school limit sign.
Dr. Lucas, is there, I know Dr. Amador has said that there's officers out there, but is there any way that you could reach out to the chief and maybe increase enforcement? I know that they're probably limited with officers as well, but.
Yeah, no, I will.
I really appreciate your guys' efforts. Thank you, Dr. Amador. That's all I have.
Yeah, going back to the pickup, it's, they're blocking the drive, out, so I'm afraid to hit even a parent because they're And, I could see a teacher crossing with the kid and, you have to kind of slow down your brakes. So it's kind of scary. So if, hopefully parents are more cautious and aware where they're standing, if they can, please, just the safety for themselves and for their children. Also, going back, I forget to thank the JJCS and the police department, for getting that grant for us for our supplies this year. It was a huge lift, and I hope every student received their supplies. Did we get those straightened out? Did everybody receive?
Well,
their
there was,
supplies already?
we got it to deliver to every class. So whatever students needed, they were able to get. We divided it evenly per class. And we figured that was the best way to have some equity in the system. And then if there was a student who maybe needed more, we have more to provide for them. But yes, of course, thank you guys for that effort. Well, those kids were very happy to receive some of those supplies.
Yeah, well, big thank you to them. It's very, very appreciative what they did. But thank you, Dr. Amador, for what you're doing at your school, and hopefully, we could help out with all those little safety issues. It's only the first 2 weeks, but hopefully it will get better.
Dr. Amador, yeah, I have one more thing. Dr. Amador, I just had a parent actually text me and provided an idea if they could drive around like the playground area, that there, and maybe it'll help in slowing down the process and make it better. I don't know if that's something that we might be able to look into.
We can definitely investigate any suggestions the community has for that.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Dr. Amador again. Is there any other questions, Mr. Morelos, Mr. Barrera?
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to Mr. Almanzar.
You're muted, Ralph.
Let's try that again.
Yeah.
Good evening to all of you. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. My report will be short. A couple of things going on. Again, I'd like to also say thank you to JJCS, the police department, for providing the school supplies. We pretty much did the same thing, divided them as evenly as we could, and provided that to the students. We also, when we do ordering, we order plenty of supplies for all students. We understand that sometimes that's a big issue, and so that's one less thing to worry about. So again, thank you to those people that did provide that. It was good to have that. In addition, I think what I'd like to do, I heard Dr. Lucas talk about the enrollment. I'd like to break it down even more. As of today at CES, we had 30 fifth graders and 27 sixth graders, for a total of 57. And of those 57, 7 of them are in the Edgenuity program. So that being said, let me move on to DTMS. We have 40 seventh graders and 46 eighth graders, for a total of 86. 5 of those are in the Edgenuity program through the REC. You can really tell when they show up for lunch, the 7th and 8th graders. We have a full house. We're doing a lot of the eating outside on the tables. So we have the 2 patios, the back one and the one on the east side, that are pretty full. And then the rest of them eat in the cafeteria. So it's a good thing to have. We have 143 total students at this time. The first part of my report, I just wanted to give thanks to all those people that provided for us. We have a new roof on our school. We do have a new library books in our library, and I was looking at some of the books that were in there, and some of those books that we had in there are older than I am, so that says a lot. So told Gloria, don't throw those away. Those are going to be worth money someday. But there's some pretty good books in there. But I appreciate that, Dr. Lucas and all the people that have provided for us. Once again, our building looks outstanding. Come on in. We did accent walls throughout the building, painted all the yellow that was in there, we took it out and we painted it orange, and so our building looks outstanding. The floors are clean, the building is clean, and teachers are happy. And I want the kids to take some pride in their school, and so that was the idea. That was a quick win for us this summer, and thanks to all those people that were involved. So if you get the chance, as we start getting better and the pandemic goes away, which it'll eventually will, then you're welcome to come over. Also, we are also working with Texas Tech. My leadership team is meeting as well. We're going through the same process that Dr. Amador and his staff went through, and I've been part of that and have learned quite a bit from it. And so that has allowed me to work off of that and bring that success to our school as well. So a lot of changes at DTMS and at Central, and just give them the opportunity, we're going to make it a better school. So we've already started that, and I'm very pleased with our start, considering the fact that, it was a tough start to the year. And so we've gotten past that and we need to move on. So that's the idea. Also, it's great to be able to have athletics back at school. We started football practice. We've started volleyball practice. Look forward to those contests with the students performing not only on the football field, but also on the volleyball court. So with that, I will entertain any questions or any comments that you have for me.
Is there any questions? Is there any questions for Mr. Almanzar? Sorry. If there's not any questions, we'll move on to Ali Chess. Thank you, Mr. Almanzar.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Roberson.
There it goes. I was just trying to unmute. Well, good evening, everyone. Glad to see everyone. I thought this was going to be a live meeting, so I guess I didn't hear at our meeting today, but I was here anyway doing email. So right now we're just, teachers are working with communicating with parents and myself for just about our COVID-19 mandates, just to try to get that all kind of cleared away or understandable. We're not all agreeing with the mandates, but we're all, I guess, agreeing to disagree, or keeping it respectful towards our communication. Teachers are communicating with parents about reaching it. Oh, well, I'm continuing reaching out with our teachers on finding better ways to reach out with parents and teachers, to make sure that their students are asking for support, to make sure they're asking for help right away. We get some of our students that they get themselves in a little bit of a hole, and then time's gone by, and we're trying to just make sure we improve in that area of just communicating with the parents, with the students, and vice versa, where we're asking parents and students to make sure they're communicating with us more for the needs. Of course, we have homecoming coming up. It is an early homecoming this year. It's just the way it fell, and we're going to make it work. So as right now, all activities are going to be most activities are going to be allowed. Some events, we won't have, maybe postpone them to a later date until everything kind of gets better under control. Again, just to add to everybody, I still would like to thank the JJCS and the police department for dropping off their supplies here at the school. We just did it a little differently. We have them here in the front of the building, and students are at will to come by, and whatever supplies they need, they can pick them up. So, we have students come by either before school, after school, during school, to pick up their supplies if they need them. I would like to make sure I really want to reach out and thank the students, the teachers, and the parents for actually maintaining a positive attitude, during our challenging times. And, like our kids are awesome. I mean, I can't say nothing good. I can't say enough good about our students. It's amazing how they deal with things and just how positive they are. And, it's just fun every day, and then the teachers make it easy because they're doing their job in the classrooms, and I get to hang out in the hallways all day long, bugging kids and just having a good old time. And it's just working out really well. So I really appreciate the parents, teachers, and students for just, helping with their support to make this year start off well. And it has been, kind of challenging, but it's all working out. So, one of the things that we really are discussing as teachers and myself is just, I want to address zeros, I want to address Fs, and I want to address tardies. It's just, it's a bad thing. We have too many kids with zeros, we have too many kids with Fs, and we have too many kids that just come in tardy. So we're really, we're actually looking forward to addressing all these concerns to just try to make this work. And there's going to be consequences with tardies and zeros and Fs, and hopefully we can make kids understand and parents understand that it's important. And in the same breath, towards all that, we're really looking at ways to make sure we recognize our students that are doing well, getting the work turned in, maintaining the grades, showing up on time. So, we're trying to make, hit at both. I know I'm guilty of just always looking at trying to support or find ways to help our kids that are not doing as well, and we forget about our good kids. They're all good kids, hopefully nobody takes that wrong, but our kids that are just doing the, the right thing day in and day out, getting homework turned in, being on time, we really got to find ways to help better support them. And, we're just using our experience from the past 18 months of just, utilizing our Google Classroom in the classroom right now, to actually daily, even though they're here in person, we're still using Google Classroom. For our kids that are not able to attend school at this time, they're able to log into Google Classroom to get their homework assignments. So, and if that doesn't work, then they can come in and get hard copies. But again, we're trying to make sure that they're reaching out to the teachers and emailing them or calling me or calling the school to find out exactly what they do to get their, to get their work, to hold themselves accountable. And even though our students are going to be returning to school here shortly, that have been away for a while, is that we do have, we are going to be able to be more productive or positive when, if something happens again where our kids have to be, quarantined, then now we're going to be able to have more available, I'm going to just say, computers to be able to utilize to help them better at home, because we still need to help them whenever something arises. So, we're looking at ways to improve in that area. And all I just ask is just, for students and parents just to, communicate with us. And they do. They seem like they don't have a problem calling me up and giving me their opinion. So, but it's good though. It's good. I want it to be open like that for us all to be able to just communicate openly and just, just respect each other's opinions and concerns. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm done with anything I have right now. So if you have any questions, I am going to cover Coach Hooper's. So he's not feeling well right now. But just physically, like he's fell off his horse and things like that in the ranch. So he's just kind of hurting. But if you want to ask me questions, and then I'll go ahead and talk with Hooper's, or you want me to just do Hooper's right now?
You can just go ahead and do Hooper's.
Okay. So with Coach Hooper, just want to kind of talk about something we did this summer. That we had summer school. I'm wanting to put into policy something where, I can have a policy for summer school, because we kind of extended the summer school. So the kids that showed up for summer school were able to do an extension through July. Now, I would like to continue with that. We did it in kind of support of the COVID, 19 past year, but, Coach Hooper volunteered to say, hey, I'll do July. And we all know what I've already heard what everybody says. Oh, he just wanted to get his football players eligible. Well, he did want to get his football players eligible, and so did I. But every kid that gets eligible that plays sports, it gives them a credit, which gives them closer to graduating. So, it all just ties in, however you want to look at it, but it all ties in. But he gave up, July, and was here at 8 in the morning till 12 or sometimes 8 to 4. And we had kids that continued to come in from June that were actually part of the June summer school. So that, so they worked all the way through July, got eligible, got credits, had kids move from freshman year to sophomore year, right or wrong, different philosophies out there. But what I would really like to implement, but I want to thank Coach Hooper for doing that. Got some kids eligible, got some kids with the credits, got them back onto grade level. Some are still behind, but they moved in the right direction. And I think it's a good thing. It's just that I want to have certain mandates for summer school to where if we continue with this extended summer school, that they have to meet a certain criteria when they do come to summer school to have that extended school year. But we opened it up for every kid that was at summer school. So we had some come and then we had some that didn't. The football game for this weekend, it moved to Saturday. It's going to be at 5:00 p.m. against Laguna Acoma. And it's because they were having trouble with the bus driver, trying to get a bus driver. So, in all, it kind of worked out well since we were had some players, had to stay home for a little while. The volleyball schedule is good to go. Our first volleyball game, I believe, I hope I don't get this wrong. I think it's August 24th, next Tuesday, versus Animas here at 5:00. The basketball schedules are completed. We're just still, he's still working on tournament teams are coming to the tournament. We had it filled and we had some drop out. We had it filled and some dropped out. So it's kind of going back and forth. For the football, right now, the football games, I don't want to say something that I shouldn't, but I want to say that right now there's no, people don't have to wear masks. It's all open because it's an outdoor unless something changes. A lot can change by Saturday, but at this time, it's just everything's open. We can have concession stand, fans in the stand, no masks because it's outdoor activity, and we'll just go from there. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Yes, Mrs. Escobar.
Of course, I have questions. Okay, so how can I say this?
Just say it.
So we have our own mask policy. Our kids are masked up, and so with NMAA and PED and CDC, what rules are we taking whenever we travel? Are we taking their school district rules, like what they're going by their mask rules, or what are we going by? Can you answer that, Dr. Lucas?
I can, when we go to theirs, we follow their rules. When they come here, they follow our rules.
Okay.
So like we're, and we're following basically NMAA guidelines, except for indoors like volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
The athletes can follow the NMAA guidelines, but any spectator has to be masked because it's just too hard to try to police and figure. So anybody that comes in to watch a games will have to be masked.
Okay. So
for volleyball, outdoor, nobody.
Yeah, just with the actual athletes, it's wherever they're going to be playing at is wherever whatever rules are going to be followed. Okay, because that kind of, I don't know, that makes me feel like it's sending mixed signals for our district. I don't know. I'm so confused with all this, 2021.
Yes,
I don't even know what year it is anymore. This is how confusing
and
it is.
Within a week or two, I expect them to come out with new guidelines. So,
yeah, because
I don't know. With cases going up, it's going to get stricter, I'm sure.
Because has NMA, they haven't touched their guidelines, right?
Not for quite a while. Once the new PED guidelines come out, then I'm sure they will have to. Or the new state guide, whatever the state health department says, and PED goes off that.
And is this being communicated to the athletes and the athletes' parents? If they're going to travel with their kid to go see their game, they have to follow whatever rule whatever that school is.
It should be, but I'll double check. It should be.
Yeah, because that was one of the main concerns that I was hearing from parents. They didn't know, where to look at. And so that was my question for Mr. Hooper, Coach Hooper, his aspect of all this.
I'll see if I can get a list of like schools and what they require,
Mhm.
and we can maybe post it on our website or something. And, you know, because anyway, I'm sure they have a list of, you know, what school's doing what.
Okay. And
So-
is there a limit still to how many athletes are travel on the bus? Or is everybody welcome on the bus?
So, well, I'll jump in real quick. So right
ahead.
now, when we travel, so, well, let me kind of back up and then I'll answer the travel question. So, I mean, just to kind of go with Dr. Lucas, I mean, so right now, most schools are just, so, you know, we have mask mandate in our school. We're making everybody wear a mask, vaccinated or not vaccinated. So NMAA, you know, most schools are sports are just following NMAA, which means if you are vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're not vaccinated, you know, then you have to wear a mask. So, you know, a lot of schools are following that suit. And then I'm not sure how they're going to follow it for the stands for the visitors. But of course, like Dr. Lucas said, we're going to make everybody wear a mask. Just makes it easier for us. But then the traveling part right now is that, so for the NMAA right now, it's if you're vaccinated, you can put 2 kids in a room. And if you're not vaccinated, you will have your room to yourself. So we're trying to travel with the most, with the less, you know, student athletes as we can. So right now, the way it looks like for volleyball, we've asked him, or we kind of requested if he could travel with 10 athletes for his tournaments, because it's varsity tournaments right now.
Mhm.
Well, and that's overnight. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm talking about overnight travel, but with the, you know, that's what we're trying to limit there. But with the travel, you know, it'd be the same thing. You know, right now, it really, NMA still says masks. If you're not vaccinated, if you're vaccinated, not wear a mask. The bus situation is something that the coaches and I have talked about. We really haven't, and with Dr. Lucas, but we haven't really came up with the, you know, exactly what we're going to do on the buses when we do travel. Are we going to make everybody wear a mask? You know, it's something we're just kind of waiting still to see what guidelines change, you know, and you know, we're not traveling yet. So we still have a little bit of time, but yeah. And once we do, we'll definitely make sure we get that out to the parents in the community.
Okay. It's just, you know, it's just a lot of confusion for
It is.
everyone, you know, and then for us to keep up with it, you know, we're trying to do our best to do what's best for our students and our staff. So, you know, if we can please keep us updated with any new information. I know Dr. Lucas is really good about it, but you know, it was just a very big concern with parents that have athletes at home. Like, what is the rule? You know, what's it gonna look like? But if you just could please communicate that to your athletes, send something home. I don't know, some like how Dr. Lucas says, whatever schools, no mask, wear mask, vaccinated, whatever the case might be. That'll be helpful for everybody. But is there any other question? Jonah, do you have anything?
I have nothing. Just hang in there to all our administrators. I know. I think every administrator has said it's challenging or it's been chaos that first week. I mean, I think you guys honestly have arguably the toughest job in America right now. You guys you guys finally get it ironed out, and then the state gives you another curveball, and then we give you guys the local knuckleball spin, and it's a tough job. So just hang in there, and the parents hang in there too, because you know that's what I mean. We all have that same goal in mind. So
yeah, and then we're glad that you know, students are going back to school, you know, and hopefully people could respect our, you know, decisions of wearing our mask right now at the moment. You know, I like to see my kids happy. They're happy to be back at school. I bet other parents are happy to see their kids. So, you know, let's keep everybody safe out there. You know, I think we're doing the best we can, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
far it's working. And let's keep it up and finish this whole school year with no more
Alyssa.
incidents, please. Yes, Edgar.
I had a message if it could be relayed to Mr. Hooper.
Yeah.
So, and I've been in contact with Dr. Lucas about this about, I'm going to say 3-4 years ago. Through JJCS, we had purchased several basketball goals. These goals are like the Gus Macker goals. It was with the intent that at one point we could do some type of like street basketball, closing off that back portion of the Central on Penn Street and doing something like that. Well, that never really happened. I mean, it didn't happen, obviously, but those goals are still around. As of, I'm going to say today, they belong to JJCS and the county as a fiscal agent, but we decided to do a transfer to the schools. So the schools will actually own these goals, and they will be available. My reasoning to get the county to give them to the schools, it was so the Darnell tournament, maybe one day they decided to do like some type of outside street basketball tournament, but not just for the Darnell tournament. Jamie actually had a good idea and thought, maybe like an off-cycle tournament to help raise money or whatever it is. And I just wanted to let everyone know that those goals will be available. They will be stored, cared, and by the district, and they'll be there for the use of the public.
Thank you, Edgar. Mr. Morelos, do you have anything to add?
No, I just logged back on. I had lost the internet here at my house. Sorry about that. I apologize.
No, you're fine. All right, well, thank you guys. Thank you to all our principals and what you do every single day. And we can move on. Are we at building reports, Dr. Lucas?
Yep, that was all the building reports.
Okay. All right, is there any public forum?
No, there was none.
All right. Board of Education issues, COVID counts?
Right, just wanted to give you an update on, so we have 55 in quarantine or isolation. Majority of that's at the high school. They're able to come back on Thursday. And then the others are spread throughout the district from being exposed, and they haven't necessarily, I think we've only had one student that's been in school that's tested positive. We've had students that have tested positive, but it happened, the timeline was such that we didn't have to quarantine everybody. They were not around students to expose them. And that's really all I want to let you know. We like I said, we've got about 55 out right now.
Well, I hope that they get better soon. Hopefully they don't have any issues, medical issues.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, going on to NMSBA BOE mandatory training report.
And that was just the paperwork's in there. It gives you all your training hours, and that's just showing all of you have met all your training hours for the year. And we do appreciate that. And that's a new board, that's required, a list of your required trainings that you've attended through New Mexico School Boards Association.
Thank you. Item C under Board of Education issues, the NMSBA Fall Region 8 meeting, September 28, 2021.
So, and we need to figure out if we want to, right now we are scheduled to host that in person here. And I don't know if you want me to talk to Joe again with the New Mexico School Board Association to see if we want to do it virtually, because that would mean 8 school boards, 5 members. So that's 40 people plus speakers and guests coming in to an enclosed area, providing food, so it'll be basically no masks throughout the, off and on mask, people eating, talking. So is that something we want to try to host here, or do you want me to talk to him and try to go virtual? We've been doing it virtual the last several meetings, and that's really y'all's decision.
Sir,
And we've been on it because before COVID, we were the ones next on the agenda. And so just every time it's us that's, until we actually host it.
It's not meant to be, I guess.
I guess not. I still have all the bags that say for the regional meeting 2020, March 2020. So.
Dr. Lucas, this is Edgar.
Yes, sir.
So I actually emailed them and not this time. I emailed them the last time that we decided to have a virtual meeting. And my question to them was, if you're saying that it's safe for our kids to be back in school, why is it not safe for us? And I understand there's different things with adults and different things that might take in place where some people during this meeting are eating, maybe not wearing masks at all times and stuff, but what type of message are we sending out there? And by no means am I against it. I just want us to think about that is if we're saying, our kids should be in school and we're pushing for that. And I support that. Let's keep our kids in schools, but what makes us any different?
Well, I know the governor's office and PED is recommending that all meetings that can be done virtually be done virtually, just as a safety precaution. Children right now, although it's going up, children are not as likely to get the illness as adults are.
But we have 55 kids out in just our district.
But that's from one person. It's not necessarily like 55 kids out sick. 45 of those are from one person.
So Mr. Morelos, do you have any input on, do you want to host a meeting in person or virtual? I want to see everybody's opinion.
I have a suggestion that Dr. Lucas ask PED for advice. I agree with what Edgar just said too, but I can go either way, people. I can go either way. Play it by ear for now. It's not till September the 28th. We've got basically a month.
Right, and we may not even be allowed to by then, but I just.
Right, that's what I mean. Play it by ear.
It could have gotten a lot better too. We don't know.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I can go either way.
Listen, just for the record, I'm the same way as Mr. Morelos. I'm fine with it either way.
Okay. Mr. Barrera, do you have any input?
I'm fine either way too. I think it comes to we're weighing luxury versus a necessity at this point, right? We're saying students need to be in school, whereas we have a luxury to be there. Do we actually need to be there in the meeting, or can we do it virtually? So I'm probably leaning a little bit more to virtual right now. But I agree with Mr. M. Get PED's advice on it, Dr. Lucas, and see what they say, because I don't know, a month is a long time in COVID time. So
yes, it is.
A lot could change. So I don't know. Let's just see.
And we've got time. I just wanted to bring it up and try to get where y'all are standing, because like I said, I can go either way. I just know currently they recommend even board meetings and stuff like that. While it is allowed that if it can be done virtually, it should be done virtually.
I personally would like to have it. I know I said I'd go either way, but we have a beautiful district, beautiful schools, and
yes, we do.
I would love to show them off. To some of this other administration and show, Lordsburg and the community what we have here. So like I said, I'm okay either way. I totally understand what everybody's saying, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
I say let's just go ahead and plan it to do it in person.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and then let's see what happens.
We had to cancel it last minute.
Yeah, the last minute. Let's just shoot for it, and then if we could do both virtually and in person, those people that want to come, maybe we could set up a camera or something for them, so they don't miss out that credit that they need as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, something to,
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe we can think about it more, but let's just go
Okay.
ahead and shoot for it in person and
Okay.
and go from there.
So the 28th is a Tuesday, is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
If we have it in person, I just want to make sure we get everything properly cleaned, I guess, before the next day of school. If we could somehow set that up.
Yeah.
And then plus, we're adults here, we could sit 6 feet apart, if we're scared, and, those who want to wear a mask will wear a mask, and
Yeah.
those who don't choose, and hopefully they're not feeling ill to come.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
their choice.
hopefully they know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's any more discussions, can we move on from this
Mhm.
topic? Thank you, Dr. Lucas, for that. Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
guys for your input. Appreciate it. Approval of accounts payable and payroll liability transactions. Dr. Lucas.
Any questions on the checks?
I move we pay our bills as written, sir, if there's no questions. Madam
Okay.
Chair, Morelos.
Thank you, Mr. Morelos. Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second it.
second.
Either one.
Go ahead, Jonah. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, Mr. Barrera seconds, let's say that. Roll call, Mr. Morelos,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera.
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
myself, aye. Approval of budget adjustment request, Dr. Lucas.
I don't think there are any this month. No, there are not any this month.
Okay,
I asked that for my question. Can you help me with this? I need help with this.
okay, hold on, babe. Sorry, guys. Homework, sorry.
Yeah.
Items, discussion items. Discussion of conducting remote or in-person board meetings.
So when I would imagine everybody's opinion is kind of the same, and we can do the in-person if everybody wishes. That is not a problem.
And on the in-person, Dr. Lucas, I wanted to talk about the thing we had discussed about maybe recording it and still pumping it
Right,
on YouTube.
and Ryan, is that something we could do if we held a board meeting in person for the board members and then had the camera project like to YouTube like we do now for the audience?
Yeah, we could do that, no problem.
Okay.
Would we need to purchase any additional supplies or anything, or?
We got laptops and microphone on hand, so we could try it with that first and see how it goes.
Okay, awesome. I think was it Mr. Roberson that said taking the good things from COVID away? I think that's one of them. We get a lot more interaction whenever it's on YouTube. So
yeah,
that'll be awesome.
Okay.
Sir, and I feel the same way, just like you said. If we're saying that our kids and our teachers are safe to be in school, why does that exclude us? I mean, we're not.
No, I understand.
But again, it depends on, tomorrow something different could happen. I'm open either way. I just think that, we're not any different and no more special than our students or our teachers. So
right.
That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, discussions of ARP funds.
Right, this is the CARES money, the new CARES 3 Act. I just wanted to let you know where we stand on it. Right now, we've put money in, and this can be changed. This is just getting amounts into broad categories. Then once we actually go out, it'll, we can adjust as needed, just like we do bar adjustments now if we want to change something. But right now, I have money slotted in for training and professional development. We have it on purchasing supplies to sanitize and clean. We have monies in improving indoor air quality, social work, implementing activities like when we went remote, we have money set aside where we can go back to remote if we need to go back to remote. We can get laptops issued, buy new laptops if needed. We have monies in to purchase additional hardware technology, mental health services and that is mainly to help. We're going to have one of our own is going to be certified as a counselor, so she'll be a certified counselor hopefully here really soon. And then let's see, we have planning and implementing activities related to summer learning. Right now, the way PED has summer school set up, we're not applying for the funds for next year because we can't meet it because it requires a K-5 teacher, and the kids have to follow, like if they're going to, in kindergarten this year, their summer school teacher will have to be their first grade teacher for next year. And we have to do that for all 5 grade levels. And we have a hard time getting teachers. We can't guarantee that they're going to get that. So I have money set aside to do our own summer school that we'll just pay for out of this monies. And then we have money to set aside for learning loss, other activities necessary to maintain operation, to help salaries so we don't have to lay anybody off should it get worse again. And again, this can be adjusted if we don't need to use it. We won't, and we'll do something else with it. And that's pretty much how the spread is out right now. And once I get it completed, I'll send y'all a copy and we'll post it on the webpage as well. And they've changed, the due date was the 24th of this month. They have changed it to October now, but I'm still planning on having it done by the end of the month. And again, like I said, this is not a narrow, like, well, we're going to buy 2 carts with laptops. It's not that narrow a thing. It's just very broad categories right now. And then as we get going in, we'll adjust.
Dr. Lucas, I'm wondering about, I've been a little bit concerned about the Edgenuity cost. Can we use this to offset it, or?
Yes, and that's in part of the technology, and yeah, we can use that money to cover that. Okay. Yeah, that's the only way we can really do it. It's
right. We were,
yeah.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I think you guys are doing a good job in assessing the needs for the district and prioritizing. So I'm okay with what you just mentioned.
Okay, and we do have the survey result. Actually, we'll close the survey down probably this week. And then when I get that, I'll send it to you all, the survey results as well for the surveys we've had up.
Dr. Lucas, can it be made public for the community to know what it's costing the school per student?
For Edgenuity?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I mean, we can put it on there. I mean, it's $1,600 per student per semester.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that the community knows that as well. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Any other questions on that?
If there's no other questions, let's discuss the out-of-state tuition, Dr. Lucas.
And we were hoping we would have some more information, but really we don't. We haven't got the bill, but this is our out-of-state tuition that we do with Duncan. Have you heard anything from them, Brian?
Yeah, so I spoke with, her name's Joanne Boyd. She's the business manager at Duncan. Basically every year we have our signed agreement and then it goes to their school district board meeting, then they approve it also. Really the only one that needs to sign is the superintendent, but it is something that we bring in front of the board. And once we get this signed agreement on both sides, I turn that into BED. I do have the estimated invoice for how much it would be this year. But just so that everyone knows, basically, it just flows through the district. We get money straight from the state and that goes straight to them. So it's not like it costs us anything. It just flows right through us, basically. And so we renew this agreement every year.
Thank you, Brian.
Sure.
Is there any questions for Brian or Dr. Lucas?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
On that number 2, the Duncan Unified School District shall submit to the Lordsburg Municipal District attendance reports every 20 days of school in accordance with sections 2283 NMSA 1978. Do they actually do that, Dr. Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, because we have to turn in attendance. That's how they base their final pay.
Okay, because I've read this, I read these over every year that we do this. And that just struck to me a few minutes ago when I read it again. Okay, thank you. That's all I got, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Morelos. Is there any other questions? All right, if not, then if I could have a motion to adjourn.
Do we need
I'll
to
make
vote
that
on this?
motion.
The
Oh,
agreement?
I'm so sorry. Yes, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Morales. I wanted to go home already and go to bed. All
I'll
right.
make that motion, Madam Chair, to approve this agreement between Lordsburg Municipal School Districts and Duncan Unified School District.
Okay. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Morelos,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez.
Aye.
Now if I have a motion to adjourn.
So move, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second, Alyssa, and thank you again for covering for me.
Oh, you're welcome. Hopefully I did a good job, but
Yeah.
thank you. This meeting has ended at 7:16. Thank you and good night.